What's up, guys? Farooqi Bros here, back with another podcast. And today for you guys, we're talking about a lot of animated projects. I feel like this is the podcast talking about animation of in 2024 and a couple of big projects that have already come out, a couple of big projects soon to come out, maybe some things on TV, some things on film. We're going to kind of touch on all the pieces in this gambit. So let's get right into it. And I actually want to start with a project that maybe not many people are aware of. So I want to kind of put it on your radar and kind of make you guys aware of it. And that's The Imaginary. So this is a new film that's on Netflix. It came out in Japan a couple of months ago, I think in December, by Studio Ponoc. This is a studio that's kind of offshooting from Studio Ghibli, like one of the most celebrated and popular studios of all time. And this is kind of like, one of the proteges of that company have kind of taken the reins and started their own production company. And this is kind of the brainchild of that production company. And when I'll start first, when I saw this movie, I kind of got a sense of both Studio Ghibli. I feel a little bit of Disney in there. I felt a little bit of multiple inspirations from a lot of different animated sources. So I feel like it was really good. So I'm gonna give my review first. And for me, The Imaginary, I came in very blind. Like, I just didn't really watch trailers. I didn't really consume any media around it. I'm like, hey, this is just a new movie. We'll check it out. I mean, we're interested in what Netflix is cooking these days. So, but when I came out of it, I was very surprised. It's a very earnest movie, a ton of heart, ton of sincerity. I love the point of view shift. So many of these movies take the point of view of the child who is acting with an imaginary figure. Think Aladdin and Genie, etc., etc. But I feel like this time around, you're taking the point of view of the other thing. And in this case, the film, which kind of centers around a child and her imagination and what she creates and how that imaginary friend ends up breaking off and seeing other imaginary friends and so on and so forth. And it seems like a very baseline plot, but when you actually get into it, it's quite subversive in the way it goes by it. I was very impressed by number one, the script. And I think it's something that both kids and adults can enjoy. I'm also impressed by the animation, which was very crisp, albeit a little experimental here and there, but very crisp. And overall voice acting was fine. I got a chance to watch it in dub on a press screening, but actually also watched it in sub yesterday in curiosity. So now I'm 2 watches in and I'm very impressed by actually both voice casts, but I thought the sub was even better. And overall, and we're going to talk about another animated movie shortly, but I think that this film did quite well overall. And I'm very interested in kind of what, how it does on Netflix now that it's coming out. But yeah, I mean, that's kind of my early thoughts on The Imaginaries. Yeah, I'm going to throw the baton to you. I mean, what did you think about it?
I pretty much agree with all your sentiments. I think coming into it, I also had, zero expectations. I had not seen the trailer. I don't know, the marketing for this film is not actually that strong. I don't know, I'm not putting much into it because I haven't even heard of it that much. I think just offhand, I heard of it a little bit by name, but so I really came in completely blind to this movie. And I was pleasantly surprised. I think it was very strong in its emotions, strong in its themes. And it did do an interesting notion of, the point of view is of the other rather than the main character, rather than the other was the main character, rather than of the human or like who would you expect the typical point of view to be from. So that did bring an interesting but interesting point of view to how the plot went and the themes within that. And I think there were just very strong emotional core and backbone to like why Amanda would create the imaginary child in the first place. And then it kind of feeds into that all the other kids, they might have their own reasons or different things that they come from for why they might need to create this person for them to that kind of share emotions with and kind of go into this imaginary place within their own minds or in like their own fantasy. So I think the film did a very strong job in kind of putting that broad stroke on kind of the reasoning behind that and the whole thing of like the childlike wonder and everything that and how there is it's not just like sometimes I'm dumb things see like a child like kind of doing his own imagination or his or her imagination and they're just whatever, but there might be something deeper behind a deeper reasoning or some kind of like a level of escapism that the child might need for whatever reason. And I think this film really did a strong job kind of putting the childlike wonder along with the more emotional backbone and the reasoning behind that. And really just, it was very strong in that aspect. So I was very pleasantly surprised. They did, one of the producers and the writer was in the screening after the Q&A, did mention how like Shaw said, the animation was a little more experimental. They said they did play around with the lightings and the shadings on the characters themselves. So that's why visually, though it seems similar to Studio Ghibli, it is slightly different because they said, okay, they're going to try to take it into a different place in terms of shading the lighting. So I thought it worked well for this movie, and it kind of seemed like a 2D, 3D hybrid. You know, they said that that's not what they're going for. They're kind of just going for more of a in-depth 2D, but I think it still turned out well, and I think overall the movie was pretty strong.
Samir, what about you?
I completely agree. I think, I mean, I knew it wasn't Miyazaki, so I went in with lower expectations, even though it is like former Ghibli. And from what I understand, the film got delayed because last year they focused more on working on The Boy and the Heron, and I think that translates a little bit to the animation. I think it was a little bit messy at times. Even the story is a little bit messy, but I think there are definitely moments that are really sincere and thematically rich. And it's pretty crazy because there was another movie that came out this year called, it was John Krasinski's If, that was basically about the same thing, imaginary friends and like losing your imaginary friend, and it is like night and day with this. So this movie basically proves that you can have fun and make something that's also like that also has depth, which is pretty crazy. So I definitely recommend seeing this one over the other one. It's like
not to mention the third animated movie too. That hard not animated, but the third movie about imaginary friends, that horror movie called The Imaginary, and that's like the one with the bear and like the whole horror. The three same movies on the same general plot line. But I do think this one kind of brought something interesting to the table. I think it'll be quite impressive to see how this does. I'm not sure it's going to do as good as the next movie we're going to talk about, but I think from a quality perspective, it's just leaps and bounds. But yeah, let's give our quick scores. I end up kind of sitting on 4 stars for this movie. I think overall, one of the better animated movies this year. I know as a Critics' Choice member, I'll definitely be considering it for best animated movie when it's all said and done. I don't know how the rest of the year shapes out, some surprises down the road, but I think this is definitely, at the moment, it's my front runner, but we'll see how things move as 2024 goes on. But for me, 4 stars, I quite enjoyed it. John, what about you?
I ended up going with 4.5. I think as far as, because in the comparison of the realm, you can't say, oh, it's the same 4.5 for you, so that doesn't make sense. It's more like 4.5 in the realm of children's movie and children's media. And I think it had very strong emotional depth that kind of picked it up for me. I feel like it was very surface level. I think like the next movie we're going to talk about, I would not have grasped at it as much. But I think because there were deeper layers to it, I ended up giving 4.5.
I also ended up giving it a 4.
Well, from there, I mean, I want to transition to, one up-and-coming studio that's coming off a historic original studio into probably America's biggest animation studio of all time, and that's Disney and their latest movie, Inside Out 2. Well, Disney Pixar. This is Pixar's latest movie. And Inside Out 2. So this is interesting. I'm going to give some context of kind of where the company is. I feel like this is why this is kind of interesting point to kind of tackle this to start with. And let me change the topic here. All right. And that's where Disney is right now as a studio. And when you look at it, they've had a couple of clunkers. So especially on the Pixar side, and you look at Lightyear and you look at a couple other things, turning, and then of course COVID impacted a bunch of movies like Turning Red, Soul, and then what's the third one? Luca. So those 3 were impacted during the COVID era. So you could say, okay, maybe they didn't have the release they wanted, but safe to say Disney's not in the place they wanted to be, and they kind of publicly, the CEO and the team have kind of spoken in investor calls and so forth that they want to move away from singular director visions, and they want to more do big commercial movies, back to kind of making billion after billion after billion. That run they had in like 2014 to 2021, like 24 to 2019, that like 5-year run was like crazy for them, like making movies between Star Wars, Marvel, and Disney. Everything was making $1 billion. But things that wane in recent times, there hasn't been a $1 billion hit from Disney for a while now. I think I can't even think of the last one, honestly. So what they've done now is like, you know what? Forget it. We're going back to sequels. Inside Out 2, Toy Story 5, Frozen 3. That's what we want to make. And the movie, which just came out like a week and a half ago, already has $700 million on its belt. It's already the highest grossing movie of 2024 by far. It passed Dune Part 2, and it's gonna make $1 billion within the next week in a busy summer season ahead. So in some ways, Disney's probably patting themselves in the back and being like, "Yo, another $1 billion hit. We're back. We're back." But they might be back from a sense of money, but are they back from a sense of quality? And that's kind of where I want to kind of start this topic. And Zen, I'll let you go first. But I think you have more to say than I do, but I'll jump in after you. What did you think about Inside Out 2?
It does bring up a good point because it unfortunately the money coming in validates their whole shifting away from the kind of director-driven, the kind of personal stories into more of the, okay, let's go for the surefire hits. And it's not necessarily what you want to see. I know it's unfortunate a lot of movies didn't do well. I thought Soul, for example, was a terrific movie. And kind of if you lose some of that going forward, is going to be unfortunate. But obviously, big corporations only care about the bottom dollar. And this movie doing so well, it really does validate all their ideas. Okay, what they want to move forward with next. The movie itself, I thought was just okay. It was not better than first, in my opinion. I feel like they kind of played it safe. There was little emotional depth. I think the whole movie was just 2 lessons. Like, okay, you can make friends, and number 2 is it's okay to have anxiety. And I thought that's kind of shallow for a Disney movie, especially Pixar. Pixar really does go further than that. You can tell from the other movies, even Soul, you can tell from Toy Story, that there are deeper messages, deeper layers to it. But this was just very shallow, and it was very self-contained in like, oh, her in summer in hockey camp, whatever. And it just felt kind of boring for that reason. It felt like not that much emotional depth. The animation was good, though. Obviously, you can't knock Pixar for the animation. They're usually always at the top of the game, and they were as well here. But as far as the movie, I think it was just the reason for the money is probably just the return to familiarity. People are like, okay, Inside Out, just the name will bring them there to see the second one. I definitely don't think it's better than the first one. I thought it was just an okay movie. But it is unfortunate that it's doing this well to now validate their shift in what the movies are going to green light going forward.
Yeah, for me, the movie, when I think about it, there's an overreliance of tropes. So, number one, you mentioned one, the anxiety trope. It's just me, or a lot of animated movies in the American circuit are doing a lot of anxiety movies these days. Like, there's actually a tweet, and I credit the person who tweeted it, where it was like every single movie is just like you have to have one panic attack in every single kids movie these days. And I don't know, like between the Puss in Boots movie and the Paw Patrol movie, I haven't seen them, but like apparently they all have like these big anxiety moments. In this movie, anxiety is kind of like the antagonist in some ways. And for me, I was like you, I was not pleasantly, I was surprised of how small scale it was, and in terms of tropes, you're doing a lot of the fetch quests, like, oh, we got to go get something, we have to go somewhere, and then we have to come back and think the thing we were going for wasn't what we expected. I mean, that's a trope that we've seen 110,000 times. So this movie was very predictable. I think every step of the way is predictable. And then this is the movie's out for a week and a half, and I think we can spoil it. But the end of the movie, like even the way anxiety backs off, and everything felt like I could have charted that from the beginning. Like, like that's a very easy road. And if someone says, well, it's a kid's movie, you're judging it too hard. We just talked about the imaginary that did not hold anyone's hand, so I'm kind of judging on that standard. So in that sense, it's not as good as kind of what I would hope. It's very small scale. I almost wondered, to go back into the finance element, if it was supposed to be a Disney Plus movie and the last second switched to theatrical. If you guys don't know, Moana 2, which is coming out this December, was originally supposed to be a Disney Plus series. And even it was created as a series, and now they've retooled it as a movie. So I wonder, like, was this originally supposed to be like a Disney Plus thing that they kind of made it big again? But it's even without that, I think, overall it's fine. I mean, you see Riley as a teenager now, so the emotions that are there are teenage emotions, so everyone can kind of relate to that. The jokes are funny enough, and some of them are just really childlike. Some of them are genuinely, I thought I got a good smile out of it. But I'm in more hard on than anything, but the animation is really strong. The voice acting is pretty good. Like everything kind of goes the way you think it would go. I think overall, I would give this movie a 3.5. Or maybe a 3. I'm not sure where I settled on, but it's in that 3.5 range. And I think if obviously for the kids it's fun to watch, but 3.5 for me. Zion, where are you standing on it?
Mine is definitely not 3.5. It's a solid 3 at best. I feel like I'm harder on this film, but more lenient to Imaginary, and you're kind of the opposite. But for me, this is just, it cannot be above a 3. It's just very based on, like you said, too predictable.
Samir, instead of asking about the movie, I'm going to ask about this whole trend, the Disney trend. Like we're seeing from the small scale, Luca, Soul, and Turning Red, and then now back to this like sequels only. You know, we're gonna make Inside Out 2, we're gonna make Moana 2, we're gonna make Toy Story 5, we're gonna make Frozen 3. We know we have Mufasa coming out. So, do you think this is a good thing, or where are we standing on this from a creative standpoint?
I mean, creativity in the mud, right? This is what you expect from a corporation, right? That just values, you know, the money aspect of it. That doesn't view that the animation or anything else, the storytelling as an art anymore. I feel like maybe they used to. And studios like Ghibli do, and you can see that the quality difference is there. And of course, the sequels, like Zion said, they work. So it doesn't seem like it'll ever go away. I like the smaller. I like Soul and Luca and all those movies that were coming out. I think they were definitely a better direction to go in than making all these sequels. And the sequels just look terrible at this point, especially Mufasa. Like I know Shaw's really hyped for it. It just doesn't.
You, not me.
I don't know.
Let me just say right now, I saw the Mufasa trailer for the first time with the tattoo. That's all they like here. It looked like absolute garbage. I can't believe it. It was so bad. Zero. My bar is so low for that movie.
So if it surprises you, you'll give it like 3 out of 5.
I will. I feel like Barry Jenkins playing a dangerous game.
Yeah, I'm surprised Barry Jenkins even took this movie. I'll be honest. I was kind of surprised. Why'd you take this movie? And why does it look like that? But, you know, they said it's the Godfather 2 of Lion King, so let's see what they're cooking. Let's see what they're cooking with that, you know? That's what they compared it to.
Who said that?
Barry Jenkins or someone on the Disney side. Someone said that we were looking at Godfather 2 as like our style of like.
Barry Jenkins did not say that. Just somebody at Disney said that.
Someone at Disney said that.
Didn't Inside Out 2 say that they're trying to be like Uncut Gems or something visually?
Yeah, they did. They did. You know what?
Translate.
I kind of see it.
It was
I kind of
like that.
There was one
Uncut Gems. The audience was the one feeling anxiety.
No. One of the scenes was kind of like Uncut Gems.
That was not.
The scene where Riley's in the hockey thing and she's like going through it. Like that's kind of Uncut Gems.
Yeah. If she came out and one of the players did something crazy, then then it'd be Uncut Gems.
But she's gonna hurt the player, and then she fell, and she was like, "Oh, I was like, I'm going."
It was
crazy.
not like Uncut Gems.
We gotta put a gag order on people comparing their movies to like other movies because it never works out. Like, you know, what do they say? Like Civil War was Citizen Kane or something. What did they compare? What did they compare?
Civil War is Godfather. They said Ant-Man 2 is Godfather. They said a lot of things.
A lot of things are Godfather. That's why I've noticed this. But you know, I want to kind of shift into kind of out of the movie side. I feel like animation is doing well this year, both internationally and at home. And we have a big Batman project coming out, and that's Batman Caped Crusader. And I want to kind of get, I don't know if you saw the latest news on it, down if you were caught up or what the latest news on it is that, but they announced all the voice actors. They announced kind of, they showed a mini trailer. They take place in the 1940s. It's like a different type of a Batman series, and all the villains are like subversive. So like, for example, Bruce Timm did an interview where Two-Face, he was actually a bad guy as a lawyer, but when he turns to Two-Face, he becomes more of a good guy as Two-Face. So the opposite effect happened. That's a new thing. Or Harley Quinn, like she's not going to be tied to Joker. She'll have kind of her own different origin story, and they're going to really delve into her being like a psychiatrist and kind of what she did in that role. And Batman himself is going to be unique, and everyone's kind of looking from a slightly different angle. So I kind of want to talk about Caped Crusader and kind of be like, hey, where are we at with that one? And I kind of want to put that in conjunction because, again, like I have to continue apologizing for my horrible bad takes back in the day. But Superman, My Adventures with Superman, that show is good now. I'm telling you, I'm liking that show. I think they're doing a good job. Yeah, it's on the corny and silly side for Superman, but honestly, if I was gonna see a corny Superman, that's exactly what I want to see out of it. So I'm really enjoying that show. I kind of like the Supergirl arc. I like what they're doing, and so now we have a Superman show that is watchable, which I'll say is a good thing, and we have a Batman show by Bruce Timm and Matt Reeves coming out on Amazon Prime in a couple of months. So yeah, I mean, we're never gonna get the highs of the '90s DCAU times, but are we entering like a renaissance for superhero animation?
I think we definitely are, and you're right. We kind of we're pretty much shooting down Superman early on when we saw the photos, and we're like, it's not going to be ever making fun of how you Superman fans they never eat, you know. But now you finally got something, and if anything, that makes me a little worried for Batman. I feel like it'll be the opposite, even though I'm excited for it. I think the different angles kind of will make it interesting to watch. But I think unlike Superman, for Batman, they really need to kind of hang on to the more adult or darker themes. I feel like that will keep it much more interesting, especially if you're setting it up. If it's like a 1950s type period piece type movie, let it be more crazy. Let it be a little more adult. Show, okay, there are psychotic like asylums. Like, make it a little darker. I think the show will really, really adapt well to that kind of a backdrop. But I'm worried that it might be a little too even keeled or not go far enough. I mean, I will be there. I'll be watching. So I will give it a fair chance. But I'm worried about it because if we were so wrong on Superman, hopefully we're not wrong on this the other way. You know?
Yeah, I think just the pure creative talent on it between Matt Reeves and Bruce Timm, I think we're in a good spot, and it's gonna.
I mean, Matt Reeves, yeah, but you think of
Did you hear?
project.
Did you hear how Batman sounded like? Did you not hear it?
I did not see the trailer.
You
I
know,
only saw the casting names.
You should just hear it live. And Samir, what if you have any thoughts on the series at all? I mean, you can let me know while I'm pulling this up. But
I heard the voice. Like, I saw the trailer. I don't know about it. I'm a little shaky on it.
You know, I will say that.
I don't know.
I will say the trailer. It is a little unique. Here, I found it. Let me see if I can just. Will this work? Let's see if this works. If it doesn't work, then forget it. We'll watch it later. I present. Share screen. Is that working? Is that full screen? Is this full screen?
Of course. It was full screen before. But
Could you hear anything or no?
It's not full screen anymore, but we can hear it.
Oh, okay, bet.
It is not full screen. Yeah. Now it's full screen. I lied. We can't hear anything.
It's true. I couldn't hear anything.
I feel like I heard something before, but now I can't. I guess forget it.
Forget it. All right, but he's a voice. He's a guy.
No, the banner isn't even right. Inside out too.
All right, let me switch that out. You know, I'll put up a big year for animated projects. Big year for animated projects, bro. But not. I'm gonna have to pull up my phone. It's the only way. I'm gonna just.
There's no way.
All right, just listen to the voice.
A mask can hold the power to hide who you are, or create who you are. But the time has come to shed our masks and unveil the heroes and villains of Batman, Caped Crusader.
That's the Batman voice.
Honestly, it's fine. I don't mind it.
It's fine. It's a little different, but it's fine.
It sounds
It's 1950s. What do you expect?
Sounds like a vampire. It's trying to be a vampire.
I always wondered, like,
put that on Dracula. It'll be like, yeah.
I was wondering if Kevin Conner was live, would they have wanted him, or was they never going to go that direction? I don't
think they're ever going to go that direction.
I think Bruce Timm said they had an idea for a role for him, but it never obviously materialized. But they wanted to play something. Yeah, it'd been a good Thomas Wayne, pass the torch, or the Grey Ghost, like redo the Grey Ghost.
Yeah, that would have been good.
I would have liked that, like redo the Grey Ghost one time. But yeah, between. So, have you watched any of the Superman episodes? Is that your flavor?
I haven't caught up in the latest episode.
I'm not a show guy like Dylan.
Oh, okay. Well.
Oh, he's watching Smiling Friends. Every day he's there. The second the clock strikes whatever, and the episode pops up on Max, he's there.
And I'll be there tomorrow.
Well, there that goes. But I think it's a good time for superhero things. Between Superman has a good show, not the greatest show, but has a good show. Batman has a pretty good show coming out. Spider-Man's doing his thing in the Spider-Verse movies. It's a good thing. Good stuff coming around.
It's an interesting time for everybody except MCU. Yeah,
that's a good thing though. It's time to let that thing stay away where it needs to stay. I mean, that does not sound good. I mean, we'll see what Deadpool does, but I think Deadpool's just gonna be nostalgia pandering. I think at this point there's not much that franchise can do. We'll see. But yeah. What did you guys think? One more thing. Last topic. Yeah. So what to watch? This is like a thing we started last week. I think we're going to keep going. Like, we're going to recommend one thing to the audience. Like, hey, watch something, play something, whether it's a new video game you want to try, whether it's a new movie you want to play, or a new TV show. This is what we recommend. This is what we've been doing the last couple of weeks. And we want you guys to kind of take on if you were interested. So I don't know who wants to go first, but maybe
I guess I can start first. Yeah.
So what do you recommend the audience watch this week?
So I have two things. I have obviously a movie and a video game. The last stream, I know I went a little too hard with the Vanishing, kind of off the cuff. But this time I'm gonna be a little more relaxed. I'm gonna stay in the theme of animation and two straws and some dismay. For the first time ever, I watched Fantastic Mr. Fox, and I must say I was wrong on it all these years, and it actually was a banger. It wasn't banger. It was actually pretty good. It was like funny, and the animation was interesting, and it was like they did cool tricks and stuff in that. And I thought the story was like all right, and so it was just a fun movie. And it's short. I think if you haven't seen it, it's like definitely one to knock off the list in terms of animation, all the Wes Anderson style that you could want. And I thought it was just a fun movie. And then obviously everybody's playing it right now. Elden Ring DLC, Shadow of Erdtree. Videos are going to be dropping on FRQ Gaming channel, so definitely check that out. I'm running through it right now. Crazy hard, but super fun. So be on the lookout for those videos.
Samir, what do you recommend to the audience right now outside of Smiling Friends? Even though it could be Smiling Friends.
Because I got nothing.
I'll go first then. So I'm going to be recommending, it's a movie not out yet, but I want you guys to see it in a couple of weeks. So a Cinema Debate alum, and he goes by Chandler Volley. I don't know if you guys remember, any of our audience have read his writing for more than 5-6 years ago now. Well, he's been doing some, indie projects, over the last few years. And, he reached out to me and kind of gave me a preview look at his latest film, which is called Death After Dusk. And this is a movie that kind of follows the adventures of two bounty hunters, Short and Skinny. And as they kind of go to this small Texas town to solve the case of a serial murder on the loose. I think for a $10,000 budget and a 2-week production time, I was very impressed by Chandler's work. And of course, other Cinema Debate alums like Beza and Joe were also part of it in various ways. And I think all of them kind of contributed in a cool way. And I think just, it's a little bit of horror mixed in, a little bit of a whodunit detective story mixed in, a little bit of obviously a big Western backdrop overlay on top of all of that. But I think, you're seeing a young director who is quickly refining his hand at filmmaking. And I think if you want to see, it's like, I don't have the right phrase, but, just doing it for the love of the game, just doing it for the love of the game. And that's kind of what Chandler's doing with this movie. And he's kind of making it work. So I definitely recommend that. It's coming out in a couple of weeks now, I think in early to mid-July. But definitely I recommend checking it out. I also have a full review on cinemadebate.com if you want to see it. But yeah, supporting old colleagues of ours and old friends of ours. And I'm very excited to see how far they go. For me, honestly, the sky is the limit for this young man. So let's see how it goes. But that's my recommendation. Keep an eye out for Death After Dusk. Samir, now you have time to think. What do you recommend the audience to watch? It could be anything.
I guess I haven't really seen that many movies this week, but I think I'll recommend. I saw the TV Glow, which came out this year. I think it's the best A24 movie this year, and people should definitely check it out. It's in my top 10 of the year so far, so that's what I recommend.
Well, there you go. Another guy from Detective Pikachu. That's the main actor, isn't he?
What? Oh yeah, that.
The main actor of the movies from Detective Pikachu.
He's in so many movies. He's in so many movies now. It's crazy.
Oh, he's in Jurassic World also, right? Same guy, remembering correctly? Jurassic World 2?
I think it was Jurassic World, yeah.
Yeah. This is a horror movie, right?
No. It's coming of age. It's A24 just does coming of age movies.
Oh, I thought it was like a horror movie.
It's like
trailer.
coming of age.
It was like a horror type movie.
It's kind of horror, but yeah, it's horror-ish.
It's the horror of growing up.
That's what it is.
He froze.
I guess so, but isn't always, yeah. But so what did you guys think about, all the movies, a big animated episode? So let us know what you thought about Inside Out 2. The Imaginary is coming out next week. Not next week, the week after next week. So check that out. And then Death After Dusk also coming out in a couple of weeks. I saw the TV Glow is out already, I think, on in theaters or on some streaming platform. And then Elden Ring DLC, like Zan mentioned, is available. Fantastic Mr. Fox, you can watch anywhere you want. And then Batman Cape Crusader in September, October. And Superman is playing right now on Max and Cartoon Network. So let us know what think about any of the projects. From myself, from Zion, and from Samir. We're the Farooqi Bros. And we'll see you next time. Peace out.